Hi guys, I was recently asked by a few people what I would run currently on a bow ganker, so I figured I'd make this video and show you guys what I've been using. Um, so we'll start with, look at this. We got RTM takeaway broth for the food. It's a nice little bit of health, stamina, and recovery for both. You could use lava foot. You could use a lot of things, honestly, but those are the two I would recommend the most. And then we got the lever for penetration for our Mundus. You could go with the crit damage one too. That's up to you, but I prefer having higher penetration. We got Vampire Stage 3. You could stick with Stage 2, but I like having the Undeath passive from Vampire Stage 3. It gives us a little bit of tankiness, so we don't just get one-shotted after yanking one person, and we can maybe get away to come back and get a few more. But you want at least Stage 2. We'll get into that here in a second. We have our gear. We are using sharpened Swamp Raider's bow on the front bar. Sharpen's nice for the extra penetration. Got a Vatron Maul on the back bar for the Frenzied Momentum stacks. I don't really care about the proc itself. And we got some Swamp Raider pieces on the body for this bottom effect here, where it increases the damage of our poison and disease abilities. We'll get into... I'll show you the buffed up stats here soon. And we got one piece of Valorix for some extra weapon and spell damage. And then we have Marksman, our second set. Reduces the cost of your stamina abilities by 5% and increases the damage of your bow abilities against players by 8%. So we want this active on both bars so it can reduce the cost of our rally, our leeching strikes, just pretty much all of our abilities but cloak on the back bar and front bar. We have infused for these two pieces of jewelry. Then we have Markin. I went with Swift because I like the extra movement speed. You could do another infused, you could do Bloodthirsty, but I like being a little fast. And what Markin does is you gain 100 weapon and spell damage and 1,157 armor for every set you are wearing at least 3 or more pieces of. We're only getting 2 stacks of it right now, which gives us 200 weapon and spell damage and 2,314 armor. And I just like Markin for the extra resistance you get. The back bar weapon doesn't matter as much. You know, I would rather have a sword powered back bar, but I'm not gonna farm Vatron again for it. But if you weren't using this or this, I would throw the other piece of Belorg's on the helmet and get this nice little bonus right here. We're sitting at almost 6,000 right here. It would go higher. It's kind of hard to show with just the dummy and stuff. It can't get higher with those Vatron procs. Sorry, going down to there. Oh my god. I'd rather have this just for the extra fucking weapon damage from the Fighter's Guild passive right here to help our healing. You're gonna want channeled acceleration. What this does, you could get race against time too, but it just doesn't last very long. And for ganking, uh, once people are trying to fucking snare you, there's a good chance you're gonna get fucking killed anyway. So I like this one that has a longer duration. Yeah, gain major expedition and minor force, increasing your movement speed by 30% and critical damage by 10%. Shadowy disguise, the thing that makes a nightblade a nightblade. Then we got rally, which increases our damage with major brutality. It's also a nice heal at the end of the buff. I mean, if you recast it, you'll get a chunk of the heal, but it's better to let it run its course unless you are about to die. You got leeching strikes, which works about the same way for stamina recovery. And we got blinding flare here mostly for this major protection that you can see down there in the bottom. We'll get into more of why we have that there in a second. We got Toxic Barrage. We got Camouflaged Hunter from the Fighters Guild for the passives that come with the Fighters Guild, which we'll get to in a second. But it also gives us this Major Savagery on our front bar here, increasing your weapon critical by 2,629, and you also gain Minor Berserk for 5 seconds after you deal critical damage from an enemy's flank, which as a Nightblade, we are attacking people from behind or the side quite a lot. We got Resolving Vigor, got a nice 17k tooltip for our heal right here, and that's unbuffed. Lethal Arrow, Snipe, whatever you want to call it, Relentless Focus, and then it changes to Spectral Arrow, and you can fire that at someone. Right now unbuffed, we have 19,803 damage right there, and we have Poison Injection for our spammable execute. And then we have all of our passives in Assassination. You could stick Reaper's Mark in the place of Relentless Focus, but I don't see the point. I don't feel like it's worth it, honestly, compared to having the Spectral Bow, especially with the sets we're using. But we need an Assassination ability on the front bar for this Hemorrhage passive, which gives us a minor savagery. So that's just increasing our weapon critical rating even more. It's another reason I say you can switch to the Thief, I believe it is, Mundus, for weapon damage, or critical damage. I mean, you want all your shadow passives here. For siphoning, you want Catalyst, and then we have Magic of Flood, which gives us extra magic, which is only being affected on the back bar thanks to leeching strikes right here. Two-hand. We have Balanced Blade, which reduces the stamina cost of your two-handed abilities, which is important because Rally is already almost 3k stamina right there, and when you're having to spam it to keep yourself alive, it's pretty nice to have. Battle Rush, just in case someone happens to fucking die while we're on our back bar, maybe from a dot from any of our poison abilities or something. All of your bow passives. Always get all of your bow passives. What? All of our medium passives here. That's why we're running 7 medium. modifier tree for the decrease the time it takes to enter sneak by 50% and the ignoring of the movement speed penalty of sneak, which is important as a nightblade. And then we have strike from the shadows. When you leave sneak, invisibility, or misform, your weapon and spell damage is increased by 300 for 6 seconds. And I like having stage 3 for undeath here, which reduces your damage taken by up to 30% based on your missing health. But, you know, it's important to at least have stage 2, so you get these ones. After that, if your sustain's doing well, I would say go to undeath. I don't have any problems doing stage 3. Would not recommend going all the way to stage 4 for unnatural movement, though. The ability cost increased is just a bit much. Fighters Guild, you're going to get your Slayer passives, all 3 of them, for the increased weapon damage. So you see, you get 3% now on both bars for having one ability on each bar equipped. You're going to have Banish the Wicked down here. You want to get that one because we're going to be killing people, and it's always nice to get more ultimate while you do it. Sigic Order, I always get the Clairvoyance passive, just so it makes our channeled acceleration a little cheaper. We don't have a ton of magic, so it's kind of important to get that one. There is Undo, Temporal Guard. Any of those are nice to have for your back bar ultimate. All of your passes in Assault, always. You want this one. You see, you get even more ultimate when you kill an enemy player. This gives your bow abilities more reach and continuous attack. You know, after you take a keep or resource, you are getting an increase to your weapon and spell damage by 10% and magic and stamina recovery by 20% for 10 minutes. You want your racial passives. I am a dark elf. You could go Imperial, you could go Orc. I mean, in the long run, race does not matter that much. Khajiit's also nice for ganking, but I like Dark Elf for the extra magic and stamina. The flame resistance is nice with all of the Dragon Knights everywhere right now. And then we have the weapon and spell damage that we get from Dark Elf. Alchemy, you are going to want medicinal use. This makes the effects of your potions last 30% longer. Alright, popping out of stealth, we have almost 6,000 weapon damage and almost 12k, well, a little over 11k penetration. While Rally's active, they're sitting at about 5,500. You also have to keep in mind, I don't believe Swamp Raider's 5-piece effect shows on the stat sheet. So our abilities that are poison and disease damage get about 600 more damage. So let's get into the buffed tooltips. Skills. We're looking at 13k snipe damage without the Vatron procs. The 23k on our spectral arrow here, because it is also disease damage, so it gets buffed. Yeah, 6,153. Not the greatest either, but it's there. And you'll see the vigor can sometimes get up to like 20k for the ticks with the Vatron stacks and everything else. One more time so we can get the Toxic Barrage. stealth. We're looking at 96k poison damage over 4 seconds right there on just the first hit, and then we have 45k poison damage over 8 seconds with after a 1 second delay for the damage over time. So with all that done, let's take a look at what we have for the champion bars. Master at Arms for your direct damage attacks. With bow, we don't really have any AoE attacks, so it's best to use that. Deadly aim, single target attacks. Like I was saying, no AoE. Backstabber, because we're going to be attacking people from behind a lot. Even more flank damage with Camo Hunter. And I like having this one just for the extra weapon and spell damage. It's kind of just a flex spot. You could use for the red tree. You got celerity, because I love my movement speed. Survival instincts, while affected with a status effect, your core combat skills cost 5% less per stage. So you know, that means like your roll dodges, your blocks, everything that's not an actual skill or ability. I like having this one for when you kill an enemy player. Regaining some stamina is always nice, and rejuvenation for all of the health, magic, stamina recovery. Red tree is more like personal choice though. Just make sure you get your passives. Green tree, you're gonna want sustaining shadows probably, at least. That just makes sneak cheaper. That's up to you. I like having this out of combat movement speed also. Liquid efficiency, so that while we're spamming potions to build ultimate, you know, maybe we won't waste a potion. And rationer, because I use expensive food and I like getting every second out of it. And with that, I will show you guys some gameplay. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it.